The diet of Shohei Ohtani, the 4 questions he asked his dietitian that surprised her. That is something I'd like to talk about today, so stick around. Hi, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of the Ikigai Diet and Ikigai Bio-Hacking. Now, I'm happy to announce that my book, The Ikigai Diet, was ranked 5th again among the books published by Next Publishing Authors Press on Amazon. I'm so happy. Also, my Japanese book, Shizenha Biohacking, which is the Japanese version of Ikigai Biohacking, was published. So if you have any Japanese friends, please tell them about my book. So did you watch WBC, World Baseball Classic? Yeah, I ended up watching the whole Japanese games, 7 games. Yeah, it was very exciting, right? And so the first round of WBC were held at different locations, and one of the locations was Japan. So many teams came to Japan, and they all went out to eat Japanese food. And ramen was very popular. And in fact, there was a news about Australian team going to Iemoto Ramen, which is a ramen chain in Yokohama. Yeah, and also they're visiting a convenience store and so on. And also, Lars Nootbaar, who is a Japanese-American baseball player who played for Japan. He loves ramen, and he ate a lot of ramen during his stay, right? However, that is not the case with Shohei Ohtani. He did not eat out a lot in Japan. In fact, he comes back to Japan every winter during the off season, but he hardly ever eats out. Yeah, because he's very strict on his diet. And for him, eating is observing nutrition, not so much eating for fun. He doesn't seem to enjoy eating that much. He doesn't really care about the taste. So when he cooks at home, he doesn't even use any seasonings. He just, check his food to see whether, it has enough nutrition he needs and so on, right? With one exception, he loves yakiniku. And the only time when he eats out is to eat yakiniku, which is a Korean barbecue, right? Yeah, in fact, the entire Japan team went out to eat yakiniku in Osaka a few days before the opening of the WBC. And I think this is because that's the only place that Shohei could go, right? So yeah, he's strict on his diet. And when he was playing for Nippon Han Fighters, the Japanese baseball team, before moving to the major league, he had, or he still has, I don't know, but has a dietitian called Megumi Omae. And she's the one who kind of sets the foundation of, Shohei Ohtani's dietary routine. So during that time, his meals were nutritionally well balanced. Yeah. And then, so he had kind of 5 kind of a sort of protocol, right? Sort of for 5 dishes. And the one is shushoku, which means main dish, and 2, okazu, which means side dish, and 3, yasai, which means vegetables, and 4, kudamono, which means fruit, and 5, nyuseihin, which means dairy. Right, and then every dish has a purpose. So shushoku was to gain carb, and okazu, in his case, to gain protein and fat, and yasai is to gain vitamins and minerals, and kudamono to gain vitamins and carb, and then nyuseihin is to gain protein and minerals. Right. So usually, with kind of washoku, you don't really have a daily, but in his case, because he needed more protein, and so he drank milk, right? Now, so having all those many dishes is very much like the Ichiju Sansai, 1 soup, 3 dishes that I talked about in my book. It's the basic principle of washoku eating. Right, and even this can be applied to Ichiju Sansai format in his case, it is ichiju gosai, though, 1 soup, 5 dishes. For example, I think one kind of meal plan that I saw was like this. So he had a rice, miso soup, and then, 5 side dishes, but a vegetable dish, a protein and fat dish, a fruit dish, and dairy dish. Yeah. For the protein dish, he had like, salmon and some eggs, and then a protein and fat dish, he had a chicken. So chicken contains more fat too. Yeah. And then I think a daily dish was like milk in this case, but probably other time he might have yogurt and stuff like that. But anyway, the focus of this meal is protein. So it is a high protein meal plan. Yeah. In fact, for his protein intake was intaking twice as much as his weight in grams of protein. Yeah, in his case, that was 190 grams per day, a lot of protein. Unlike other athletes, Megumi Omae worked with, he asks many questions to her, stuff like, apparently he likes chocolate too. Yeah. And then I think one time Megumi Omae brought him a chocolate as a sort of souvenir when she visited him, because she knows that he's strict on diet, and so he needed a break or something. And then Shohei asked her sort of how much cacao polyphenol does this chocolate contain, that kind of thing. Or which do you think is a better source of protein, milk or eggs? Yeah. So he is very knowledgeable about nutrition. Yeah. And she was surprised by 4 questions he asked her. What were the 4 questions he asked her that surprised her? 1, what do you think of the ketogenic diet? Now, a lot of other athletes would probably say, what is the ketogenic diet? Yeah, but in his case, he already know about the ketogenic diet. He probably did his own research. Yeah, but he wants to know her opinion on the diet, whether he should, try or not. And the second question was, can you tell me about the gut microbiome? I have a much higher protein intake, so I don't think my gut microbiome is in good condition. How can I improve it? Yeah. So again, a lot of athletes would say, I heard about this, gut microbiome thing. It's supposed to be good for our health, and so what can I do about it? But in the case of Shohei Ohtani, he already done his research to find out that maybe his condition isn't such a good, isn't so good. So how can he improve it with his particular condition? Yeah, he's a little ahead of others in that sense. So she explained to him about lactic acid bacteria, how that can help him. And then most athletes would just say, oh, okay, so I'll do that. But in Shohei's case, he didn't. Yeah, he asked another question, which was the 3rd question, which surprised her. And oligosaccharides or inulin better than lactic acid bacteria, right? The 4th question that surprised her was, what is my BMR, basal metabolism rate? Yeah, so he is quite knowledgeable in nutrition, and he kind of asks these specific questions. He is conscious of his diet, and in a way, you can say he is a biohacker. Yeah, because he, does his research to find optimal way of eating and exercising and everything. Yeah. So therefore, we can learn a lot from Shohei Ohtani, right? Having said that, the diet for athletes and the diet for longevity are different. Yeah. To biohack yourself to live long and stay healthy, you need to know about particular diet for longevity, right? And the Ikigai diet, the secret Japanese diet for health and longevity, has exactly that information. Yeah, right. For example, I talked about Ichiju Sansai. Yeah. So these are the Ichiju Sansai meals. And it is a very good system to design your nutritional balance, because by having like many side dishes, you can say, okay, this is a protein dish, or this is a vitamin dish or mineral dish, and so on, to design the nutritional balance. And in the case of Shohei Ohtani, he was focusing on high protein intake, so he had at least 2 protein dishes and so on. But in our case, for the longevity, we can focus on like fermented food, for example. Fermented food is the most critical source for your gut microbial diversity, according to the research done by Stanford University. Yeah. So how much fermented food do you have? In this case, I have one fermented food dish, natto and pickles, and then fermented brown rice, miso soup. So 4 dishes that contain fermented food. It's very powerful. And how about fiber? Fiber is another thing that brings gut microbial diversity. Yeah. Got a lot of fiber dish, beans, vegetables, seaweed, brown rice, more vegetables. So a lot of fiber-rich meal, right? Now, talking about fiber, you don't just need a lot of fiber. Diversity is the key. You need to have diverse fiber. Now, according to Dr. Will Balsovich, who is the author of Fiber Field, yeah, he says you need 30 different kind of fiber a week, right? 30 different kinds of fiber, that's a lot. So how can you find 30 different kind of fiber? Well, Mago wa Yasashi is the answer. If you know Mago wa Yasashi, then you can find more than 30 different kinds of fiber, right? And then the last thing is Hare and K, which can bring the balance in your diet. Yeah. So knowing about Ichiju Sansai, Mago wa Yasashi, and Hare and K can help your longevity tremendously. Now, talking about Hare and K, that can be applied in your intermittent fasting, and I have a method called Hare and K intermittent fasting. And that is more written in my other book, Ikigai Bio-Hacking. Now, so when you practice fasting, yeah, it is critical, or when you practice fasting or diet, like eating in general, it is critical to have the balance between autophagy and mTOR. Yeah, in the Hare and K intermittent fasting, we practice autophagy and mTOR cycling. Now, what is autophagy and what is mTOR? Autophagy is a cellular recycling mechanism, and that is the key for longevity. Yeah, that is the key for slowing down aging. Yeah, mTOR is the opposite. It is responsible for your growth. Yeah. So the case of Shohei Ohtani, he needs mTOR. In fact, his diet activates mTOR a lot. Yeah. But if you are aiming for longevity, you don't want to activate mTOR so much. In fact, you want to activate autophagy, and mTOR suppresses it. And so the autophagy and mTOR are the kind of the opposite. When autophagy is on, mTOR is off. When the mTOR is on, autophagy is off. Right. So a lot of people who, does biohacking for longevity try to suppress mTOR, and they always try to activate autophagy, but that is not good either. Yeah, you need a good balance. Yeah, you need to have autophagy activated most of the time, but there are times when mTOR needs to be activated too. The cycling of the two is critical. right? And then, protein intake for longevity. Okay, so the case of Shohei Ohtani, he was, taking twice as much as his weight in grams. But how about for longevity? How much protein do you need to intake? Yeah, it's all in the book. Yeah, well, it is my example, but I wrote about how I, how much protein I, take, every day and so on. So yeah, please read both the Ikigai Diet and Ikigai Bio-Hacking. Books are available on Amazon, both as Kindle book and print-on-demand paperback. Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Sachiaki Takamiya. I am the author of the Ikigai Diet and Ikigai Bio-Hacking. Now, if you like this video, please give me your thumb up and please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. And also, please leave your comment. Yeah. How are your meal designed? How do you design your nutrition and so on? Yeah. Like, do you ever practice Ichiju Sansai and so on? Right. Okay. So I'll see you in the next video. Live with your Ikigai.